P.O.L.
Yo, what up y'all? IntraVenus here, back with another episode of P.O.L. Game Review and Music, and today I'm going to show you my brand new Game Boy Color that I just made. This is the FP-GBC, which is a build-it-yourself kit that is all new parts. There's nothing old Nintendo in here. That you build yourself and make the best Game Boy Color you can for a really good amount of money. In fact, you can make this Game Boy Color for cheaper than buying all the parts you need to mod your own Game Boy Color. And this way you can keep your original Game Boy Color in its original factory mode with all the original parts instead of cutting it up, so to speak. So this right here, as you'll see in the video, is pretty easy to put together. I put it together in about, I don't know, 15 minutes, though there were some issues that I'll tell you about. Just minor issues, things that I ran into mainly because there aren't any instructions when you get this. So let that be known first off. If you want to order your own FP-GBC, which I suggest you do, if you love building Game Boys, or building Legos, or building models, or working with your hands, or playing video games, any of that stuff, or all of it combined, you will definitely like this product. You get to pick out the color of the shell, the buttons, the membranes. It comes with all the parts necessary, no soldering at all, everything's plug and play. One of the best parts is you'll see that the screen comes pre-attached to the lens with little peel-off stickers that all you need to do is peel off the adhesive covers and slap it in there. There's no more trying to center your screen, no more cutting the shell. Also, it comes with the rechargeable battery, which is USB-C. Awesome. And it's just freaking cool. It's really cool. You'll see in the video here there's some hiccups along the way, some things you should run into if you do it that you might want to skip out on, such as putting things together in a certain order. You know, I forgot to put in the button membranes until I'd already attached the screen and stuff, and then I was like, oops, so I just lifted up the side and slid them in there. It worked, but there's things that you can do in a certain order to make it easier than the way I did it. This is so much better than a Game Boy Color. In fact, as you'll see back here, one of the things that's missing is the Game Boy Color logo on the screen lens, which is about the only thing that I could do without. I love the sleek blackness here. They even have transparent models. The only thing is when you see through the shell, it becomes a little more apparent that you're not dealing with an OG Game Boy Color. I found that to be a little bit of a turnoff. Mainly down here near the bottom of the lens, there's a metal chunk that sticks out that you can see through the casing, and it just doesn't look that pretty to me. So I went with this black with green accents, and it's total coincidence, but with my EverDrive, it actually matches the menu perfectly. So the menu in the game, well, while you're selecting the games in the OS, is black with green text. This is so perfect. It just matches up great. So I've gone and dropped 500 Game Boy Color games on my EverDrive, and I have them all here. I could page through them. There's 42 pages of games, all the great games, Pokemon, Mario, Zelda, all that great stuff. And the reason I did this is similarly to my previous Game Boy building episode. If you tuned in before, I made this big boy because I wanted to play my Game Boy games on something that felt original in my hands and gave me more nostalgia feels as far as the actual feel and the way it looks in the form factor, the buttons, everything. That's part of it. You know, when you're playing these new emulation handhelds, you're missing out on that original nostalgic feel, the physical feel of the console if you grew up like I did around the time when these things came out. In my previous Game Boy video, I did mention that I had played and beaten Pokemon Red on that DMG Game Boy Fat. Not that one, but the original gray one. The fact is, though, after I got this, I remembered that when I got a Game Boy Color, it was because it had come out while I was beating Pokemon Red. So I picked up a Game Boy Color as soon as I could. I'd get my mom to buy it for my birthday or something like that. And I played through the rest of my Pokemon save on the Game Boy Color. And as soon as I turned this on and looked at the color palette in Pokemon Red, it came back to me like, yes, those are colors that I actually remember seeing, because the Game Boy Color would throw in different color palettes you could choose from if you're playing a regular Game Boy game on there. So here you'll find one thing specifically that you're going to want to do if you build these. If you build any of them, build one, build a lot of them, whatever. You want to do it to all of them, and tell me if you've run into this when you put it together. Maybe I'm missing something. When I put this device together, the wonderful speaker that it came with, it really is good. I'm not trying to be facetious here. The speaker's great, but there seemed to be no way to fix it into place. It kind of just sits loosely in the shell where the speaker goes here near the speaker grid. And after I put it together, I saw it was loose in there. I was like, I don't see anywhere there would be an adhesive where it could stick on. That's fine, let's see how it works. Well, when you turn it on and you turn it up anywhere past like the first couple notches, it's so loud, it actually rattles inside of its space in there because it's loose. So when it gets loud, the speaker shakes and it'll give you this rattling, distorted noise. So I opened it back up, and I actually used a piece of this thin foam that came with this package. So you'll get one when you buy this. You'll probably get this exact same foam. And I recommend you cut out a little quarter size disc of that thin foam, open the shell, and put it in front of the speaker. So you actually have, this is the filtration that helps clean out any harsh noises, smooths them out. Plus you can turn it up all the way and not hurt your ears and not make it sound like it's gonna blow up. Now I could play a game and it sounds great even at full volume. Check this out. Super Mario Bros. I have a lovely story about this particular port of this game. Ooh, it sounds good. The thing about this speaker is, it looks, by the way, doesn't that freaking look amazing? The speaker gives you highs, but mainly lows and mid frequencies that I didn't realize were even there in a lot of the theme songs in these games. I'm playing Pokemon and I'm hearing little bits, little beats and notes that I didn't even realize were there in the song, because this really is a good speaker. You can get the full spectrum of every song and its clarity if you put that little foam piece in there. I just realized I might not have tightened my bottom screw here all the way. I'm going to go in and tighten it. I did just add the foam before this video. So let me know down in the comments, y'all. Have you ever built a Game Boy? Do you like the Game Boy Color? I can tell you that this thing is the exact same shape and size of a Game Boy Color, but you get a bigger screen. You get a menu on the volume switch. It's actually a toggle thing that bounces, and you press it in and you can get a menu where you can adjust brightness, volume, you can change the color palettes, you can change it from original size to the full screen, you can add a pixel effect. You can even hold it down and it'll sleep the game. So it looks like the console's turned off, but then if you hold it down again, it comes back on. But beware, because I did that when I was playing Pokemon once, and when the game came back, it glitched out and froze, and I had to restart it. I lost my save up to that point. So if you're going to use that sleep button, give it a try a little bit before you become too dependent on it. This is just fantastic, y'all. If you want a Game Boy Color, get one of these and build it yourself. You're going to see a little bit of how I do it in the video. I recommend finding some sort of instructions if you're not privy to this kind of stuff, because it's like a little bit complicated, only because you have to know where the ribbon cable goes and which is upside down, right side up. You need to know that there's these little plastic covers on both the battery input plug and the input for, let's see, what was it? There was another input in there too where I had to pull it off the speaker, I guess. There's a little plastic cover. You wouldn't even know it's there. It's like tan colored. Grab it with some tweezers and pull it off so you can expose the hole where you plug in the speaker and also the battery. Things like that would have been nice to know, but I figured it out. Y'all could too, and I think you should go ahead and make one of these. Let me know down in the comments what you think about this device and what I've made here. What do you think about the colors? Honestly, I love my DMG that I made, the wood one, but there's something about this. It's more pocketable. You could play it with one hand. I mean, I could grab this whole thing, and so I could really just like be eating and playing Pokemon with one hand. That's pretty cool. I love it. I think y'all will too. Thanks for sticking around to the end, and I hope y'all like and subscribe. It really helps me out, and I'll catch you on the next episode. Peace out, y'all.
Like it was forever, and in the tall woods we'd stay out of the weather like it was all good. Every day we made it for pleasure. We were saying whatever came to our minds, plain and simple like a tetherball reaching the sky. We were taking new heights.